Hello, my beloved. This is Lucia Mitro. Today, I would like to introduce you to my dear friend. During my Reconnection Certification Seminar, I met a lot of beautiful souls. I had a very interesting conversation with Dr. Eric Pearl, but the one person really stuck with me is my friend Michael. During seminar, we had short practice time. I started to work on a friend and was very nervous and very insecure in what I was doing. Suddenly, this gentleman just appeared right next to me. He put his hands on mine and led me for a minute. I understood that he's a teacher assistant, and he's trying to teach me to do it the right way. But as soon as his hands touched mine, I felt a wave of beautiful energy flowing through my hands to the body of friend I was working on. It was very unexpected and so beautiful that it literally took my breath away. He then just moved away, and I heard myself saying, "Please do not leave me, do not go away." He just looked at me with some smile on his face, and I knew right then that he's the kind of soul that I will never forget. The one that you do not need words to communicate. So when you are hearing this conversation, my dear friends, this is for your benefit, not mine. The person I'm talking about is a teacher, healer, and now a dear friend of mine, Michael Pagel. Welcome, Michael. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy I have you online with me right now. So, I told my friends how I met you, but could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I did Reiki for 10 years, and then I did reconnective healing for 7 years, and now I've been doing receivings for the past 2.5 years.
And what part of the globe do you live?
I live in Massachusetts, right near the Cape.
And you have your healing center there, right?
Yep, we have a healing center. It's called the Seeds of Transformation, and it's in Wareham, Massachusetts.
And you also have a lot of friends on the Facebook and the social media, right? You have a big following. You have a page there, right?
I have my own group page. It's called Receivings with Michael Pagel, and we have over 600 people in it now.
Michael, have you always been sensitive? Have you always been a spiritual person? Can you tell me about your first experience?
When I was about 2 or 3 years old, I looked out my window and I saw a spirit or a ghost outside my window. And I was raised Catholic, so I assumed that it was Mary, Mother Mary. And my brother also saw the spirit, and we told our parents that it was in fact Mary. You know, probably from the church.
Wow.
You know, the only female that you really see in the church is Mary.
And did she speak to you? Did she tell you something?
No, she just appeared, and we were on the second floor, so it definitely wasn't somebody outside the window.
Yeah. How did she look to you?
Just beautiful, and it wasn't really like whispery. She kind of looked very solid.
Like exactly person standing outside. What?
Yep, exactly.
So did she give you any messages?
No, I mean, if she had, I probably would have forgot them by now. No, never forget that I saw her.
It's just that experience that she showed you the way that there's something else in the world. Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. So since then, you kind of started to looking in this side of the life, or did she inspire you to look for something else?
I heard that a lot of people that are psychic had head injuries, and especially in the forehead, And when I was about 6 years old, I ran headfirst into the Catholic Church, ironically.
Oh my God.
And, and a big giant granite church, and I knocked myself out. And I think from that day on, I was very intuitive. My third eye was wide open.
Well, this is the first that church opened your third eye.
I think so.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it kind of, I guess it's tied to the Mother Mary.
Yeah.
I guess there is something going on there. And since then, did you see the souls or how this opened? What experiences you had after that?
Well, I've since seen other spirits, but my real awakening was I was able to read people's thoughts. You know, they would think of something and it would pop in my head, or they would look at something and the image would pop into my mind. It wasn't something I tried to do, it just came natural.
Do you sense this feeling of the other people too?
Yes, I'm empathic. I pick up everything. I pick up sense and I hear things. I have the sight. I'm clear.
Clairvoyant?
Yeah, there's a word where it's all of them. There's clairaudient. I have all of them, and they just come and go. One other thing I feel, like when I was doing massage therapy, if I was working on you, I would feel your pain, for a second, and I knew it was yours and not mine because it would go away after I acknowledged, and I would know exactly the spot that it was hurting you. And I also find lost things. If people lose things, they ask me, and I can find them.
Where are my car keys? Yeah, I had one lady actually asking me. She lost her favorite lipstick, so she was asking me to find it for her. After that, have you started working with healing energies right away, or you actually went through the normal, what they call it, life first?
Well, I was living with a friend of mine in Rhode Island and his girlfriend, and one day she was having really bad menstrual cramps and she had other issues. She was in a lot of pain and discomfort, and I was on the couch across the room from her, and she just had this real grimace on her face, and you could tell that she was really uncomfortable. And I closed my eyes and I asked God for her pain to go away. And I just focused my third eye on her abdomen, and I knew that her pain was gone in like a minute or two. So I asked her how she felt, and she said, "I feel better. Why?" And I said, "Oh, I just closed my eyes and I asked God for your pain to go away." And she goes, "Michael, I feel like I've been wrapped in a blanket of love."
Oh.
It's pretty cool. And her pain was gone. And it stayed gone for, a day or so. I'm not sure. It was something that she had issues with a lot. And I don't know why I did it. I just did it. You hear all the time people say, "Oh, you have to ask permission to do a healing." You don't. I didn't ask her. I didn't know about Reiki. I didn't, there were no boundaries crossed. If her higher self didn't want it, she wouldn't have received it.
Well, yeah. That's right. I kind of do. I always do. Unless there's a person in coma, then I don't. I don't know. I always do. It's kind of confirmation maybe for me more than for that person. So, Michael, after meeting Mother Mary and having your spiritual experiences and doing Reiki and other healings, I know you're doing reconnections too. That's how I met you. You are doing something amazing right now that calls receivings. Can you tell me how receivings begun?
There's a long and a short story, and
I want the long one.
you want the, you want the
I want to know everything.
Hey, you asked for it. Well, I believe that it happened that day on the couch. Okay. I don't know, like I said, I don't know why I did it, but I did it. I guess I was guided. I'm an old soul. Maybe it was something I've done in a past life. I don't really know. But, then I've been doing massage since I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
mom was always trying to get me to go to like art school because I also draw and I paint.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know. And then she goes, well, what about massage school? And I said, okay. So I took her up on the offer because I've been doing it since I was 17, but I wanted to get, more practice and maybe do it for a living.
Mm-hmm.
So I enrolled in massage school, and all these people kept coming up to me and saying, you have to try Reiki, you'll love it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And how do you know I'm going to love it? I don't even know you. It kind of sounded religious to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to take some kind of an energy class. So I was like, okay, I'll take Reiki. And I loved it. I felt it immediately. I was really in tune. And I practiced for 10 years. Like I said, I went up to the master Reiki level.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read Eric's book. And I knew once I read The Reconnection, that was my next step.
Mm-hmm.
So that was in 2004. The first couple of years, I just, was practicing. I got my level 3. I took level 1 in Asheville, North Carolina. Then I took level 3, I think it was like the next summer in Virginia Beach. And then in 2007, after doing a couple of, volunteers as a,
Teacher assistant.
yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't taken that class yet, but I was volunteering and helping, set up here in
Oh, okay.
did a couple like in New Bedford and one in Boston, and then up in New Hampshire or Vermont. And my friend Cecilia called me and said, "Would you like to go to a seminar?" And I said, "Of course I would." She goes, "We need somebody at Kripalu, the yoga school in
Mm-hmm.
Western Massachusetts." I said, "I would love to go." So they had an event before that up in Vermont again. So I went to that. Then we went to the Kripalu. I was, watching how everything happened. And to be honest, I was watching Eric and I really wasn't pleased with the way that he was treating people, like especially my friend Cecilia, who I love dearly.
Mm-hmm.
He just was treating her like, not cool. And then after class, we would go to the students' rooms to do sessions for them. And you wouldn't believe how many asked me, why is Eric like that? Why is he such a jerk? And I said, I don't really know. I don't know the guy. Because he was, down on Reiki and down on anything that wasn't reconnected related. I mean, if you did any other modality, he didn't want you in his group. I said to these people, I said, well, maybe someday somebody will come along with something that's easier and, everybody can be included. Let's call it oak tree healing, where, where modalities will be as one under the tree. And so that was in 2007. And I kept repeating that. And then in 2011, I started having these dreams. And I was working on people's hands, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was seeing. And it looked like I was attuning them or something. I was like, I don't know what this is. So I just ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was seeing it while I was awake in visions, while I was, conscious. The same things, the same hand things. I was seeing the infinity sign, and I was seeing more and more, and it just became clearer. Well, I kept trying to ignore it. I was working as a cook, and I had 2 other jobs. I was working part-time, and I had 2 other full-time jobs lined up for the summer. I was going to be working like 70 hours a week.
Oh, wow.
And I love to cook, but I was kind of done by then. You know what I mean? I knew it wasn't what I really wanted to do. I wanted to be a healer. That's why I went to massage school and took Reconnection. So I guess the universe got tired of waiting for me to listen.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
And so I had a grand mal seizure. I fell out of bed. I landed on my right arm, on my elbow, and when all of my weight came down on my arm, I snapped my humerus in half.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch. I dislocated the shoulder and tore the rotator cuff. So I was done.
Yeah, they make sure that you will not continue doing that anymore.
Yeah, I had to be. I was rushed to the hospital. They found bleeding on my brain, and they
Uh-oh.
in a helicopter and flew me to Boston, where I had to learn how to walk again. I was so messed up. I looked like I got hit by a truck. Well, when I got home, my arm was in a sling, and yes, I'm a righty, so I couldn't do anything except I could go on Facebook. So that's what I did, and I was already in this group with like 13,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of ignoring what I was seeing, I embraced it and started working with it in my mind and in my space.
Uh-huh.
When I got it to a place where I thought it felt right, I tried it on a couple of women on Facebook, and they both felt it. They felt tingling and warmth,
Mm-hmm.
and they felt balanced and centered. And this was from like a 3 minute free session.
Mm-hmm.
I send love. That's what it is. I worked with it a little bit more and I developed an attunement, and I tried it on a guy in Arizona, and I'm in Massachusetts, and he felt it instantly. His hands got really hot. He felt the tingling in his hands. He felt like chakras were opening up, all kinds of cool stuff. So I kept working with it and working with it, and then I tried it on a couple people in person, and they both felt the same thing. So I just kept working with it in this group, and what I would do is I actually met with this woman, and I told her what I was doing, and she said that she also experienced something similar, like in a dream or in a vision, and she came up with the name Receivings. Her name was Teresa Nathanson.
Uh-huh.
So I adopted the name. I loved it, and we worked together for a while. And I would go into the group, the Ascension Symptom, and I would just write Receivings, and people would come and say, "Hi, Michael," and yes, please, or they would put a smiley face, and I would say, "No," and that's all I would say. I wouldn't say anything else. Oh, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna collapse your. I would just say now, and people were having amazing experiences.
And I had a pleasure and an honor to be part of that. I can confirm everything what you're saying because I was on the receiving part. It's always amazing, like that first lady told you. It's like the wrapped in a blanket of love. It's absolutely amazing experience that you have to experience. It cannot be described, it cannot be explained. And that's exactly what you're saying. That's what it is. You are receiving love.
I love the fact that it seems to have come a full circle, that people are saying the same things that this woman said 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
You know,
Hmm.
it's really cool.
But even then, that was we met prior your receivings, right?
What's that?
When we met in Philadelphia, you were not doing receivings yet,
No.
right? The energy, exactly how I described at the beginning, it's as soon as you put your hands on the top of mine, the wave of this unbelievable, beautiful energy, it just went through all my body. It's something that was shocking for me, but calming and loving at the same time. I didn't know what's going on. And when you took your hands away, I was like, no, 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 stay with me. Don't go away. It was just amazing. And when you're doing your receivings, I feel it the same way like you were in person. It's the amazing wave of this unconditional love that is just flowing through your body. You don't need any instruction. You don't need anybody to tell you what to do because it just does itself.
Right. Yeah, I love the fact that I would send it to people, Reiki people or reconnective healing people, and
Mm-hmm.
they all told me that it was completely different. Really, it was cool to get that feedback, the confirmation that it's not Reiki, it's not reconnective healing, it's something different.
Well, if you think about that, we are all unique.
Yeah.
And because we are all unique, we have unique way to send and receive and to do the healing. That's why I always say to the person, if they come to me or talk to that person and get to know that person a little bit before you do healings, receive any healings from the person, because I don't know, we are all different and we are all doing different way and what fits with you. But something like what you're doing, you don't have to do that. It's like just the unconditional love. It's not diluted by anything else. It's not diluted by ego. It's not diluted by other personality. What's coming through you, it's the unconditional love.
Yes, and another thing is I'm not attached to the outcome. I don't know anything about the person before. I don't want to know if they have issues. Because receiving isn't just a healing modality. It's more than that. People feel, even if they don't have an issue, if they're not in pain or if they're not ill, they just come and feel the energy, and they feel balanced and centered. They can feel chakras opening up. They feel like their DNA is being worked on. It's amazing. I also honor the goddess. Our society, you hear about God all the time. God bless this, God bless me, God help me. Unfortunately, goddamn once in a while. But, you don't really hear about the goddess, and I honor the goddess. I've always had more girl friends than guy friends. My mother and I are very close. My sister Heidi was like my best friend. My cousin Laura was my closest friend for many years. So I honor the goddess with receiving because I know that she's been with me my whole life.
Do you have any specific experiences? You said about Mother Mary, but do you see or speak or just know about other?
Well, I've seen other spirits. I was in an old, it's like an order, I can't remember the name, but near painting, and I saw a spirit there. I was at my uncle's house, and he was telling me how he was getting ready to move to Florida, and he kept losing his information, and he heard somebody sneezing in the kitchen, and he said, "God bless you," and nobody was in there. He heard pots and pans hit the floor. They went in there, and there was no pots and pans on the floor. And I said, "George, it's your mother. It's Nana. She doesn't want you to move to Florida because she had passed, lived across the street from them." And right then, I felt her walk right through my body.
Oh, wow.
It was it was pretty serious. I was like, "Oh my God, she's here right now." And,
Yep.
I don't know if she did that because I got it right or if she was mad at me for
Yeah. No, I think that was a confirmation. Yeah, they do that to me sometimes too. I had that experience a lot, so yeah, they do that. But do you have a spiritual guide?
Well, I have a few.
We all do, but like you were saying about goddess, do you have one specific or it's just a general?
In a past life, I worked with Isis.
I
was a priestess. I was a female. And so she's like the main goddess that I, connect with.
Yep.
So like Mary Magdalene, I think that she, of course she got a raw deal. What they said about her in the Bible is untrue.
Well, yeah, they have.
Because, she was actually Christ's wife, and they
Yes.
had a baby, and they couldn't put that in the book, of course, so they had to come up with their own fabrications. So.
Well, if you think about that, because everybody's saying there is nothing in writing that she was his wife, but I'm saying if you understand the times, he knew what he has to do. And why willingly put his wife in danger so somebody actually go? Because the same they would do to her. So he was protecting her. They didn't need legal document that they were married. That's why there is nothing in writing. Why would he put her in so much danger more than she already was?
Well, there probably was something in writing, but the church has found all that stuff and burnt it, and they raided.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Yes. Yeah.
The whole story is crazy. I mean, Christ did not die on the cross. He escaped, and they took off, and they had babies together, at least one. So, I mean, the whole story is made up. I mean, it's good fiction, but...
Oh, see, I never thought about this.
Yep.
Because I know that he came back, and that's actually for me it was a greatest meaning of everything else, his life as a healer, because that's what he was. He was a healer as a teacher.
Well, they say
And
he came back, but he actually did come back. He was he was
well,
alive.
yeah.
You know, they left him for dead. What I heard was that they left him for dead, and his and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene got him, and he's a healer, and they probably also facilitated his healing, and they took him away. You know, but that's another subject.
That's another subject. Yeah, it's interesting because to me it was a great story for me that he died and he came back. So yes, our body can die, but our soul, our spirit will never die.
Never.
So to me, that was, as a child, that was the greatest confirmation from what I was seeing, because I was seeing ghosts and everybody was telling me that I'm sick, you know. So it's like, well, Jesus did, you know. He came as a ghost and they see him, and you going to church, you know. So why are you telling me I'm crazy? But you worship him, like, come on.
My brother Christian, and I tried to tell him the same thing, but I had another experience, and actually it was a church. It was a born again Baptist type of thing, and you know, the preacher was a friend of mine's father. So I kind of went. I don't know. I guess I went to see what was up, and I was searching at the time. And he asked if anybody felt Jesus come into them to please come up to the front of the church. So I'm sitting there, and I had my girlfriend next to me, and all of a sudden, just like when my grandmother walked through my body, I felt Christ walk through me. And it was like 10 times as powerful as my grandmother. The love that I felt was unbelievable. And I looked around the room, and nobody else was like getting up or looking like I felt like I was looking. I felt like I was a light bulb and somebody just plugged me into the wall. It was like, oh my God, what is this? So I went up to the front of the church and I said, yeah, I felt Christ just now. And he took me in the back room and he told me, in fact, just like what you just said, that we're a soul and that we never die, that we live eternally. And that was the message that I needed. And I don't think I ever went back to the church after that, because I knew it wasn't really for me, that I got the message that I needed and I was ready to move on, you know?
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I always like to go to church when there's nobody there. Like, I talk to God all the time, universe, you know, whatever you call it. But time to time, I just like to go and sit there when there's nobody there. But yeah, they are big jokesters too. Every time I go to church, when there is a mass, he will come and make me laugh and everything else.
And another experience that I had when I had gone to LA for the master gathering, when I went to actually take my teachers and mentor class in 2009, when we had all the scientists there that were doing studies on the reconnection.
Okay.
And one of the things that they did was they measured our hands, and then they had us go to our room and do a self-healing, and then they wanted us to come back and they were going to remeasure us to see what the difference was. So I did. I got down. I did had my hands measured. I went to my room. I did a healing on myself. And when I got reconnective healing, whether I did it on myself or somebody else did it, my eyes always moved like an REM.
Okay.
So it was a normal, what does he call it? A trigger or something? My eyes, instead of moving like that, they were moving in the infinity sign rapidly over and over and over and over again. Like, what is that? So I told them, I'm like, oh, my eyes were moving in the infinity sign. And they're like, oh, okay. And then when I discovered receivings, the symbol for receivings is the infinity sign. That was the first symbol that I saw. I kind of saw it crisscross with the figure 8. So jokingly I said, from infinity and beyond, from the movie the bug's life. And then the other symbol that Therese recommended was the unity symbol, which is a double dotted I. So it's like two beings as one, you know.
Oh, nice.
So that's the other symbol. And then the other symbol came to me as pyramids, and I first saw one pyramid, and then two, and then three, and then four. And what I did is I would see them like the first symbol, the wings of a damselfly. So it's like the unity symbol with one set of wings was a damselfly, with two sets of wings it was a dragonfly, and from that, with the four pyramids, it became a butterfly in transformation. So what I realized was that the four pyramids was actually a Merkaba. When I put all the pieces together, that's when receivings really took off, and people were just like flying around the universe. I was attuning one lady, and she jumped on the back of a dragonfly and flew all the way to.
Oh, nice.
It was really pretty cool.
Nice.
You tell people any of this stuff, and they see these symbols. They see the dragonfly, they see the Merkaba, they feel Kundalini. One of the things that I don't really do reconnective healing anymore. I heard that when I took it, I didn't care about not doing Reiki anymore because I wasn't really doing the symbols anyways, and I was ready for something new. But when he puts people down and puts these modalities down, that didn't really sit well with me. And then a friend of mine told me that you can't even volunteer to do his seminars if you do something else. This was a friend in California, and I was like, really? I had just done Kundalini Reiki, and so I'm thinking, oh, so I'm not in good standards anymore, and or good standing, and from that day on, I was done. So I had to do my own thing.
Yes, I do reconnection. I have a certification in reconnection, but I never limit what I do.
Right.
I just let it be. I just let it flow. I go with what I'm feeling. I go with my intuition, and I don't have a name for that, or I don't know if that's still reconnection or it's something else, but I don't limit myself. Eric was talking about the Reiki and other healing modalities. I took it as I understood this, and now I'm translating everything, and I'm not talking to Slovak language and English language. I'm translating this everything to energy. How I understood what he was talking, or how I took it, is there was Reiki is the teaching, or any other teachings. They've been here forever and ever and ever, and it's something that works, and it's something that it's absolutely amazing, because I love Reiki. I love when somebody does Reiki on me, but I feel limited. I personally feel limited by Reiki if I'm doing that. I am Reiki 1 too. I took Reiki, but that was limited for me. That's why I was more towards the reconnection, because I didn't see the limit in reconnection.
Right.
So that's how I understood what he was saying about other modalities. And again, I am the person that I listen what other people have to say, but I take from what they say what is lining up with my beliefs, and what it doesn't, I just let it go. I kind of maybe half listened what he was saying, but I had a nice experience with him. Lately, I see the changes in Eric, but that's something on a long discussion and something else. But I can part of understand what he was saying about other modalities. I just let it go. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a name for that, but it's just based in my heart, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's what true healer, I guess, supposed to do. You are not supposed to limit yourself to a certain modality. When something comes up, you just need to go with flow. And that infinity sign, that's I completely understand, because I can see it. I always been drawn to it, and My name starts with L, and if you actually handwriting L, when I sign my name, I always sign it that it almost looked like an infinity sign.
Right.
That was my cursive signature, was always the big L and just, something else. But when you look at that, and when I'm looking at my signature, even as since I started writing, it was always the almost like an 8, laying 8. It was big L and cursive always. So that infinity sign, maybe that's why I like you so much. We have the same infinity sign somewhere there. So it's just amazing how we are two different people, but I guess what they're saying about oneness, we are part of the one, and there is something there that we are all tied together, no matter where we live and where we are. You already explained it to us, what the receivings are, how they begin, and where do you want to take it? Where do you want to go? What do you want to see for your receiving to become?
I want to take it around the planet. I want to educate people that it can be, and it can be affordable. My attunement is $111, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to take any more classes, uh, and you're all set. I even share. I do this thing called charging the field, and I share that freely with people. You can just charge the field. I would like to also do, for your listeners, I've done a couple other radio interviews, and hear it afterwards, feel the energy. So I'd like to share it with whoever's listening out there, and maybe we could just take a few moments of silence and I'll send to them.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
So, adding. So tell me what you feel.
I just need to take my breath. You took my breath away again. And I have to tell you, I have 2 little dogs, and they were in a different room. As soon as you started, both of my dogs came and sat right next to me.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I've sent to like women over Facebook, and one lady had like 4 cats, and they all jumped in her lap at the same time as soon as they started.
Yeah, animals are amazing. They can feel much better than we do. Awesome. I still have to breathe. Catching up. Oh my god, that's amazing.
So I did a group with 13,000 people, and people were seeing beings from other planets and other dimensions. Jesus and Mary Magdalene were showing up. Archangel Michael and Saint Germain. And these are all people that I've worked with for years in Reiki. When I learned Reiki, they said to invoke, God or spirit or whatever God meant to you. So I picked Jesus, and I would invoke Jesus every time I did Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend who was a powerful psychic also call in Michael and Saint Germain.
Mm-hmm.
I did, and then I felt it was a little bit too many men, so I started bringing in
Ladies.
Mother Mary and then Mary Magdalene. And
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin who passed over when she was 15, and I think she's one of my guides, and her name is Mary also.
Oh, nice.
So I would bring in the three Marys, and they would help me out, with these healings.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then people started seeing their spirit animals, my animals, the tiger. I don't know how many people told me they saw the tiger there, or they would meet their own animals, like, hawk or eagle or
Mm-hmm.
what have you. And it just grew and grew, and I've shared it now with thousands of people. I was invited to go to LA for a party.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to go. It was right around Christmas time, but I didn't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did is I went on my group and I put it on the wall. I said, hey, I'd like to get to LA. Is there anybody out there that would like to meet me in person, maybe do the attunements in person? And I said, to help me get out there, instead of $111, let's do it for $77.70, because 777 is the number for receivings.
Yes.
So a couple people came on and they're like, yes, I want to help. What's your PayPal information? So I put it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend came on and she goes, well, how much is it for a trip to LA? And I said, I don't know. Let me check. Assuming that maybe everybody would help pitch in and I'd get to LA,
Mm-hmm.
So I go on Google and they said, how many sites do you want us to look at? And I said 4. So four pages popped up. And the first one was like $960 round trip.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's way too much. So I clicked that one off, and the next one was $850. So I clicked that one off. And the next one was $777.
Nice.
So I took that as my sign that I was going to California.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to the group and I said, I can't believe this. I found one for 777. And my friend Manu said, pack your bags, you're going. And I was like, what? And what had happened was I had just given her an attunement 2 weeks before.
Okay.
And she lives in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling a friend of hers who lives in India that she met me and joined my group, and she had this attunement, and it was amazing, and she just was going on and on for like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she called her back and she said, that friend of mine, Michael, I was telling you about, he has to get to LA. Will you help him? And she actually bought my ticket to LA.
Oh.
And I never even met her. I never talked to her. I didn't know her on Facebook or anything. And she took out her credit card and paid my way to LA. Round trip.
Awesome. Well, when you want something, universe can conspire to do it. That's the one lesson to me actually, it's the one lesson of receiving without knowing when it's coming from.
Exactly.
Because if it's yours, it will come to you. I was always like, I needed to know when it's coming from, and I need to know how, And now I'm learning to letting the how and when just to be, and not really looking where the finance is coming or where any help, anything is coming from. Because when you are so in concentrating and not on that how and where from, you are blocking yourself from receiving the experience you actually are supposed to getting. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a great, absolutely great lesson.
if you're focusing on one avenue, and then that avenue closes, then you could be, you might go into a why me type of thing, or how come that didn't work. Or when I got to LA, I thought I had a rental car set up for me, and I didn't have a credit card. I got there, I landed at LAX, and I took an Enterprise car shuttle to the Enterprise place, and give me the car. So here I am in LAX, in that neighborhood, wondering, what am I going to do now? So I called a taxi, and I asked him to take me to a place that I can get a room for the night without a credit card. And they took me to Motel 6. And before he took me there, he said, "Oh, it's not the greatest place. The non-smoking rooms smell like smoking rooms." And he's like, "There's other odors." I'm like, "Oh, great,"
Yeah.
When I got there, it wasn't a motel. First of all, it was a 9-story hotel. It was very reasonable. It was like $60 a night, and my room was clean. I got a non-smoking room. It didn't smell like cigarettes or anything else for that matter. And I was fine. And what actually happened was, I thought I was going for this party to promote receivings, talk about receivings and give my card out and all this other stuff. And what happened was, the music that was playing was so loud that you couldn't even hear yourself think, never mind talk with anybody. And I had been working so hard, I hadn't had a break forever. So I just danced all night long. I was dancing till after 3 in the morning. And I had the time of my life. Well, before I went to the party, I met this guy in the elevator named Clarence. And we were talking in the elevator, and I forgot to hit my number for my floor, so we went up to the 7th floor. There's the 7.
7 again.
And so he's going to get off the elevator, and he turns around and he goes, "Well, what do you do?" So I start telling him, and the elevator door keeps hitting him in the foot. So I said, "Step out of the elevator. I'll talk to you out there," So he get off the elevator, and I tell him about the 777 story, and how I did Reiki and this, that, and the other, and now I'm doing receivings, and how I've shared it with hundreds and thousands of people for free. And so he goes, "Well, what can you do for me for free?" And I said, "Okay." I said, usually I send to somebody for like 3 minutes, and but what I'd like to do is activate your hands. If I activate your hands, then you can do this for others. You can do it for yourself and your family and friends. So he goes, "Okay." So I got him to do the hand gesture where you put your hands in prayer, and he does it, and he starts swaying back and forth, and he goes, "Oh my God, this is amazing." He goes, "I don't feel tired anymore." And I guess he had like fatigue from traveling or whatever. He looked really tired when I saw him later. So he goes, "That's gone. You really should go to the Agape Center and see Michael Beckwith."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, I know him. He's from The Secret, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm going to this party tonight. Maybe I will make it there tomorrow." And he goes, "No." He goes, "No, maybe. You have to go." He said, "It's really close to here." I go, "Oh, all right, I'll go." So I got in at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't go to sleep till after 5. And if I checked on the schedule for the gatherings on Sunday, and the last one was at 11. So I had to get up by 9, get dressed, showered, and all that stuff to get out the door to get there by 11. And I woke up 4 hours later, right on time, without a wake-up call, and I felt amazing. I felt like I hadn't danced all night. I felt like I'd slept for like 15 hours. And so I called them, and I told them what I'd like to do. I told them about receivings and how I came out to California, and I'd love to share it with their whole group. And when I got there, they were putting my name on a seat. I actually had a reserved seat for me.
Nice. Nice.
I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. So I stayed for the gathering. They call it the sanctuary. And probably the most powerful spiritual experience I've ever had in my life. It was just amazing. And what they do is they have all the new people stand up in front of the, not in front of the church, but you stand up in your seat where you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and what they do is everybody like sends you love. Like everybody in front of you turns around and acknowledges you, and they do this kind of like a prayer mantra. And
Okay.
oh my God, I think I cried. It was amazing. And I ended up meeting Michael and introducing myself, and I gave him my card. And now I'm in talks with his assistants. His assistant, Lee Brown,
Mm-hmm.
she's like in charge of special projects. So I told her, I said, I want receivings to be your special project because I've been trying to reach out to the African American community because I believe that they're our first people, not our last, and I think that they've had it wrong for so many years that I want to introduce receivings to them because it's so easy to learn and teach and for people to share it, with everyone. And it's time that we embraced what's the same about us instead of looking at what's different. What's the same? And the sameness is that we all love, that we all want love, we all deserve love, and we all receive love.
Correct. Oh, and this is beautiful. And that's that's the main message. That's the mission statement. That's what it is. Beautiful. Let's end with that because it's amazing what you just said. Michael, it's been really pleasure and honor to speak with you and to share you with my friends. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spreading the light and spreading the love the way that it's absolutely amazing and helping so many people. So thank you for being you, for being on this earth with us and showing us the way. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. And hopefully your listeners will give you some feedback on what they feel. If they would, once I start sending, when I
Mm-hmm.
send now, if
Mm-hmm.
if you wish to close your eyes, you will probably feel more.
Absolutely.
So
What's your page on a Facebook where people can find you?
it's called Receivings with Michael Pagel. They can email me at michaelpagel777 at gmail.com, or they can visit our website, seedsoftransformation.com.